www.rayburn.co.uk.
Welcome back. Champions League pool here on Free Sports. One match of the night remaining in the group of death in the Champions League. It's been very, very even so far. You can see the table as things stand. John Rowe has given himself a chance with a brilliant performance against Brian Halcrow in our last match there. He needs Jordan Shepherd to do him a favour. An out of sorts shootout king now has to ascend to the sort of form that gave him such a title. He's been out of sorts so far as Jordan, and he'll want to put on a show in this final match. We spoke a little bit about this earlier, Simon. He wasn't anywhere like the sort of player that we know he can be by a million miles, such as it is his standard. Talked a little about this a little bit earlier. In ordinary circumstances, you sort of view this as a bit of a walkover match for Neil, but I don't think there's any way that Jordan doesn't take this match uber seriously, just to show, you know, I still got this. I'm still here.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's personal pride out there. He's going to be trying as hard as he would do if he was, you know, winning this match and going through. It's just not happening for him tonight, unfortunately. It's those sorts of mistakes that you just don't normally see from Jordan, because that was a massive break, good couple of first shots to make everything open, and then he misses the pot that was effectively to win the frame.
It's a tough one for him to take as well, because he hit a monster break. Neil's missed that by about a millimetre, but hit a monster break. Great opening shot. That's not, by Jordan standards, that is not a difficult pot to the top of the table. It's not necessarily the easiest pot, it's no gimme, but you know, we've become so accustomed to how good Jordan Shepherd is. It's been strange to see him out of sorts tonight, but he'll be hoping to play himself into form in this game. Neil Rayburn can't worry about that. That's not his problem to deal with, as it were. He's purely got to focus on himself. Scores extension here, which we've seen quite often by players in this tournament so far. I think again he's tried to go into this yellow on the right side cushion, and he's having a real problem. This might not be over, this first frame. The yellow next to the black is an issue. The yellow next to the right pocket is an issue. You could argue every yellow under the baulk line's an issue for him.
You certainly can. You could almost argue that reds are in a better position even though yellows are at the table.
So much so, it's the safety option played, and it's a percentage shot. But it wouldn't surprise me if Neil doesn't really expect to return to the table here. Jordan just needs to make contact with this, and he'll pot it. That'll do.
That's brilliant stuff from Jordan Shepherd, and also develops Neil Raybone's ball when Neil tried twice and couldn't, just to show him how to do it. But that was excellent, and now he's one more good pot here. And he still can't... Oh, the number of times he's missed pots like that tonight, where it's effectively frame ball, and it's just not happened. Although he's still in this frame, because, as you say, the yellow by the black is still a real problem. The yellow just above the centre pocket is a real problem.
Hasn't hit that one either. Oh, he's got some serious positional work to do here now, Neil Rayburn, or he's got to play a couple of really creative doubles. This is now a difficult frame for him to win. But bizarrely, you'd make Jordan the favourite here, even though he's snookered.
Yeah, and you could see the grimace on Neil's face when he played that, because he's not expecting Jordan Shepherd to miss this.
Which he doesn't.
Just wanted one more roll on that cue ball, and this would have been as simple as it gets. Now, he can still cut this back, but you cannot hold the cue ball.
He might even play safe here, or will he?
No, I think he has to play the cut, but can he get either into the yellow and 8 ball? Oh, he's played it thick to try and get into it, and he misses another pot.
Oh, that was the issue for me. I think you can see the angle there. It's not an easy pot to judge, and he was always going to be breaking into that. I think ultimately he had to take it on, but it was one way or the other frame ball, because then Neil's balls all became in the open. This is now unmissable for Neil. He's not much of a problem when it comes to making the sort of clearances that you'd expect the former world #1 to make. And that is a perfectly tuned positional shot when he struggled to get the cue ball where he wanted it to be in this match so far, Neil Rayburn, but that was perfectly done, and he takes a 1-0 lead against Jordan Shepherd. It was sort of billed, wasn't it, as the group of death hit, but it's not really worked out so far for the way that it's gone. Not quite gone the way that we thought it would for Jordan Shepherd here.
No, he'll be really frustrated and annoyed with himself because he's had the opportunities. He's in that frame, but in the night, he really feels like I'm sure he feels like he could have done so much better, and he'll be disappointed with himself. But Neil has to put all that out of his mind and just focus on what he has to do. Get himself at least a point, and he'll be through. Stephen Jameson has just popped out to get John Rowe's thoughts on his chances of coming through tonight.
Yeah, I certainly have. And well, John, you spoke to me earlier and you said you wished the night was a little bit longer so you could get into the tournament. We didn't know you were quite feeling like that. That's about as dominant a display as we've seen in all the tournament matches so far. You were feeling it out there.
Yeah, I felt a lot more settled, after the first couple of games, and just felt confident. So, like I say, I just wish it was going on a little bit longer, I suppose. But I just set out to do what I could do, and I've just got to wait and see what happens now.
The first match on TV in a while, first shootout match in a while. How do you find it upon review now? You've played all 3 matches.
Oh, it's excellent format. It's just getting used to the shorter time, and then even the table, because it's literally, the table's perfect, literally, and you don't get to play on a perfect table every day. So when you get used to that as well, you can't really ask for a lot more. And because of the short format, it's just so attacking. If we played it more, we'd probably play more safety shots. Maybe you use your brain a bit more, but you just sort of all out attack because you think if you clear up, you win.
And it helps when you're hitting a break as well as you were in that match, eh?
Yeah, I was really trying hard to keep the white ball and hit the ball solid. And the break can go both ways sometimes. You can get knocked in off or leave an easy finish. If you don't pot a ball, then you're leaving it for them. So I was pleased that I was hitting it well, and it helped me a lot. It helps your confidence, gets you the chance on the table that you can get going, basically.
Well, great performance tonight, mate. We wish you the best of luck.
Cheers.
Still in there for you. So,
yeah, you never know.
I know you'll keep an eye out. Best luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Back to you, Si.
Excellent stuff from John Rowe tonight. It may end up being just short and not going through, but it doesn't take anything away from his performance. He was 1 double for me away from already being through in his match against Neil Raybone. That double was the difference between winning and losing. But he does need a hand now from Jordan Shepherd.
It's amazing to think that was... I'll keep going back to it. We talked at the top of the show about fine margins and how one match at this level and in this format can be totally hinged upon one moment. And that really was the moment, that double that he missed in that first match against Neil Rayburn. Because he has got better and better and better as the night's gone on. He even said it to us there. He's felt more into it, he's improved, he's got used to the conditions, the time, the format, everything. If he scrapes over the line versus Neil Rayburn, he is qualifying at a canter in the end because of how well he's played afterwards.
Yeah, I completely agree. It really, we did say it comes down to one match, one shot, one visit, one chance, one mistake, but it really has. Unless
I thought you were going to a bit of Eminem there.
Yeah.
Sees everything he ever wanted. Is that what we're going with?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, go for that. Bit of a walk-on song. Unless Jordan manages to turn this match around and find some form that he hasn't shown tonight, Neil looks like he's going to be the player that goes through, and it will come down to one shot. Neil had his opportunity, didn't take it. John got that chance and ended up having to take a double rather than landing on it better, and that missed double was the difference between their match.
It's been a bit better from Jordan Shepherd in this frame. A couple of really good pots into the middle pocket. A bit more patiently with a couple of safeties, which you'll recognise with a tap of the table. This is still such a difficult clearance. I think it says a lot, actually, that whilst Jordan has missed some, by his standards, very easy pots, I can't remember too many times where he's actually had a really simple clearance. He's really still having to work incredibly hard. A good example there, having to try and get that red out with his final shot. It's not quite been there for him. Yes, he will be his own biggest critic in that sense. He hasn't made the shots that he's wanted to, but at the same chance, by that same token, he's not been handed the same opportunities that he might have been.
Yeah, it's always the way, and it's a cruel game at times. The game always feels hard. It feels hard. Your chances always feel difficult. You always feel like you're having to work and come up with a big shot or develop something. When you're not feeling good and you're not taking the most of your chances, those chances just seem harder and harder. And it's been one of those nights for Jordan. He's not even played, a fraction of his best pool. But a lot of what he's had to try and do today has got harder and harder as well. Even when he plays a good shot, he's not being rewarded with it. And he's in a world of pain in this frame again, because that red, and it's been a problem ball right from the start, it's so difficult to develop.
Yeah, just trying to cling on in this frame, Jordan Shepherd. He's not doing a bad job of it, actually. We saw this in Neil's first game against John, where he had a similar frame to this, and just felt like he could have gone for the jugular a little bit earlier and didn't, and got himself into a little bit of trouble by doing so. Let John back into the frame. Just to ward against that here.
Well, he may well have to wait with that, the way those two balls have come together. I'm not sure he can continue the aggression, which he looks frustrated about. Doing this on his face. I think he's got the snooker. I don't think Jordan can see the red on the left-hand side. Or maybe he can. It's difficult to tell from our camera angle. Yeah, he can just.
Tricky one for Jordan was trying to get a safe white, which is impossible playing that red. Almost had to pot it, which I'm not sure it was even possible. So it's quite a clever safety that from Neil. It ensured that it would open the frame up for him, barring a bit of a miracle. Navigated it well in the end to Neil Raybone. Yellow pass into the corner.
I think it does, but I'm not sure it's what he played. I think he's a long way short of what he wanted. I think he was playing for the yellow to the top left.
Yeah, I thought so too. He's got behind it. Yeah. Threads the needle. Absolutely what he intended to play, I'm sure.
Sometimes you just walk around the table and style it out like it was, even if it wasn't.
Almost there. It's been a tough final match for both players here. They've both struggled a little bit with a couple of awkward lies and tactical frames, but Neil Raybone is inching his way closer to a spot in the quarterfinals. Wolves fan, here's Neil from that part of the world originally, before moving to Stoke. As mentioned earlier, lives 5 minutes down the road. It's his local club. Not that he's been here much in recent months, but top player. So many accolades to his name, and as I say, yes, he's won the Premier League on Free Sports and he's won plenty of big competitions, but I said this earlier, I think the biggest accolade you can put on a pool player's name, regardless of any title from a championship, is being that #1, because it just rewards that relentless consistency over a very significant period of time.
Yeah, I completely agree. Very rare you see Neil Rayburn lose to somebody you would expect him to beat. When he loses, it's against great players. You know, he beats the players he's meant to beat. He's so consistent. He's in quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. He's in so deep in so many tournaments, and that's how you get to #1.
A little look on the face of Jordan Shepherd that said, it's just not my night tonight, is it? He's not hitting the break badly at all if you compare his break to that of Neil Rayburn's in his last match. Chalk and cheese, but that's not to be for Jordan. And Neil here has first look at these yellows. First glance is one problem ball he's looking at right now. Yellow into the bottom left, should just sort that one on the side cushion. It's half done a job. Now goes down into the bottom left corner. Landing on it might be a slight problem.
He could play into it again now because he has that perfect angle too, but may not. He purposely tried to avoid it. Done well. It's actually an interesting comparison when you see Jordan Shepherd and Neil Raybone, two of the top players around. When Jordan Shepherd turns up and plays well, he's breathtaking, and you just feel like he's always going to win the tournament. Excellent pot from Neil, but Neil's just so consistent. He really is. My memories of playing both these guys is whenever I played Jordan Shepherd, I always felt like I may get a chance because you just didn't know what Jordan Shepherd would turn up with. You know, you always felt like maybe I'm going to get a chance today. But every time I played Neil, I just felt like unless I played my perfect game, I was going to lose. He never felt like you had a chance. You didn't feel like he was ever going to have an off day. Of course, I never had a chance against either of them, but that's just how I felt going into the match.
Well, close to 3-0 now. He's very nearly there. Beautifully done from Neil Rayburn, a superb reverse dish. He has the next break to potentially take him over the line and sailing into the quarterfinals. It's been a professional performance. Nothing less than you'd expect.
Yeah, that's exactly it. His level never drops. It's always at a very high level. And he's so consistent, as I've already said. And he's done the perfect job tonight. He was a little bit fortunate, got let off the hook in that first match, but he hasn't dropped. He's just continued that solid performance all the way through. And if he does finish this match off and go through tonight like we're expecting him to, then he goes through as a very deserved winner.
And the way that he plays as well, there's a select group of players who you'd say you can never, ever give a second chance to, and Neil Raybone would be one of those. It's so rare that he makes a mistake and he gives you a chance to win a game that you shouldn't really have done. He did that in the first match against John, and that just goes to show you can never give Neil Raybone one of them second chances. Just too good.
Yeah, that's it. And that puts pressure on you when you're at the table. I always felt like when I was playing Neil or players like Neil, if you didn't take your chances when you had them, you felt like you were always going to get punished for them. You were always going to get counter cleared. You either take your chance or you lose the frame, and that puts pressure on your chance. And you don't feel like that against some other players.
It's a good break from Neil, but in terms of contact and split, but he hasn't made a ball. And at long last here, Jordan Shepherd actually has a fairly presentable opportunity. It's the first time where I've really seen Jordan come to the table and he's looked at it and gone, yeah, all right, this is what I've been waiting for, this is what I want.
It's possibly the first visit chance he's had tonight where it's been routine, as in there's nothing to open up, it's just about picking your pattern. He's too thin on the yellow into the centre pocket, so he has run out of position. Oh, lovely pot to the corner.
That's what he does so well. That pot is vintage Jordan Shepherd. He's got to pull out another one here. Couldn't do it. I mean, that sort of night for him. He'll be back. Too good a player not to be.
Yeah, regardless of the fact that he's going to be going out of this competition tonight, it doesn't change anything. He still is that shootout king. The performances we've seen from him here on Free Sports and the shootouts has just been absolutely breathtaking. And he's won 5 titles. There's no doubt he'll be back. I think he'll be as keen, and as many people are, to get back out there when we can and start to play more practice matches and tournaments and get back into the rhythm he got to prior to lockdown.
For Neil, it might be a little while until we see him again, but it looks like we will be seeing him again when we line up for one of our quarter-final nights. It's a mouth-watering first of all that have made it through, isn't it? 4 top players. Josh Kane, Aaron Davies, Phil Harrison. And it will be Neil Raybone, who was our 4th quarter-finalist, dropped into the competition on 2 weeks' notice into the group of death. No problem.
Very much.
Neil Raybone is our 4th quarter-finalist in the Champions League pool. Professional job in the final match of the night from Razor, who did what he had to do. So few unforced errors, just the 1 missed pot. Deadly finish.
And just because he's asked me twice.
And Neil Raybone has made it through to the quarterfinals. We'll get the reaction from Neil when we come back. Welcome back to the Champions League pool here on Free Sports. A fantastic night in the group that we build ahead of time as the group of death. It certainly delivered with some really close matches tonight and some really good performances as well. The man on top of the pile after 3 matches and 3 wins, 1 by hook or by crook. 2 great performances though is Neil Raybone. Neil, a big congratulations. We talked just before, parachuted in on a week's notice to play some really top players on a format you're not really used to. It took some doing getting the win tonight.
Yeah, I'm happy. It was a difficult group, a lot of good players in it. Obviously, it all came down to the first match in hindsight, because if John had got a double first match, I'd have probably lost that match 3-2 and John probably would have qualified. So it's fine lines, really. It
really is. We talked about that at the start of the match, and we talked about it a little bit as well during your second match against Brian, a really strange match that we saw a great pool tonight, but we saw occasionally that match seemed to be a graft. You really had to grind through that one.
Yeah, it was a difficult match. We both struggled with the break. We were both giving each other foul breaks. I felt like I played well in that match, but we just couldn't get in much momentum really because how the breaks were going.
And how nice is it to be back, because I think the last time we saw you on Free Sports was probably when you lifted the Premier League trophy all those months ago. How nice is it to be back playing in a competition on the TV?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've not actually played against anyone really since March last year. So
it's a long time, isn't it?
It's a long time, yeah. So it's obviously just good to obviously compete, play against players, and just try my best really.
And it's some quarter-final lineup that's now shaping up, isn't it? That you're now a part of. I'm excited to get back into it once we do come back.
Yeah, I'll do the same as I did this week. I'll be practicing on the run up to the event, and I'll give it my best go really. But there's a lot of good players still left in it, so it's anyone's up for grabs really.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again. Congratulations on the win tonight.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much from Neil Rayburn. This is what we've still got to come then in the Champions League pool. Group 5, when we do have it, is a belter. Sean Story, Chris Day, Tom Price and Eddie Barker is our next group. And you just take a look at some of the names still to come in this tournament. The likes of Chris Melling, Mick Hill, Liam White. It's a who's who of great names in the pool world, and we can't wait to watch them when we can. As we're scheduled, we are back next week. Of course, that might change. We will keep you abreast as best we can, but we hope to see you in 7 days' time for Group 5 of the Champions League. From everyone here in Newcastle under Lyme, we'll see you soon.
This programme is brought to you by vinny.co.uk.